Record now. All right, hi everyone. Welcome to our February COVES webinar call. Wasn't sure if I would be here with you all today, but my new baby is not here yet. Just kind of a matter of time, any minute now. So I'm happy to be with everyone, be with you today. As I was kind of saying, just to Linda a moment ago, we realized that we had never done any kind of introductions or sort of opportunity. There's so many new folks who've joined COVES lately, especially our rather large art museum cohort, including our Art Bridges partners who have just started engaging in this space a little bit more recently. And we just thought it was, way past time for a little bit of introductions. And so we'll go by institution because there are indeed a lot of us, but we will try to sort of call on you. Yes, Sarah, is that maybe the best way to go?
That was our idea, just to call out an organization and then see. Yeah.
Yeah, if there is more than one of you here from your organization, whoever speaks can just sort of introduce those other people and say, yeah, I'm also here with my, marketing director and our visitor experiences director, so-and-so. So we'll be happy for that. So
feel free to use
anyway,
reactions or whatever. Yeah.
So what we're hoping is that you can get a better idea of who's participating. Maybe like, oh, I didn't know that there was another museum in my state or another art museum that was doing this or something, and maybe provide a little bit of opportunity for connection, learning about each other. And we'll also talk a little about this once we get through introductions. If it doesn't take the whole time, we will talk a little bit about the webinar space, what we intended for it, and if there's anything that you would like to get out of it that we're not currently providing. So I think our introductory questions, we'll call you up by organization to say, your name and your organization, obviously your museum name, where you're located if it's not obvious. We'd love to know like how long you've been participating in COVES. I know there's like been stops and starts for some of you, so just like whatever you want to define. And any particular hopes or dreams you have for using or applying COVES, or anything that you particularly use your COVES data for, if you think it's got a particular application in your museum. Of course, if you want to share something interesting or unique about your museum in the course of your introduction, we always love that as well. So, let's just get started. I think that Nina at the Discovery Museum, you're the first person I see. So we want to introduce yourself and your museum?
Always the downfall of signing on a little early. You're like the first one there. Hi, everybody. I'm Dina. I'm from Discovery Museum in Acton, Massachusetts. We are a small, medium-sized children's museum out here right outside of Boston. We are, Brenda, I believe, is also on the call. Yep, Brenda's there. I see her name. And I'm the Director of Visitor Services. Brenda is the Senior Director of the museum, and we have been participating in COVES. I think we had joined right before the pandemic, so we didn't actually get to utilize it yet, and we just started doing surveys this past January. Some of our hopes and dreams for it are just to be able to have a larger picture on how we compare to experiences at other museums, and just as always continuing to better the visitor experience here.
Thanks. Yeah, fun fact, Discovery Museum was actually one of the original COVES participants back in 2014 or 15 or whenever the heck that was. And of course, like happens sometimes, had to go out and come back in, and we're just happy to have you guys back. Thanks, Nina.
Hi, I'm Cecilia from Children's Discovery Museum of San Jose. And as of today, I'm changing my role at the museum. So you're probably going to see a new face that will be with you next time. I'm going part-time to a PR role, and we'll have a new Director of Marketing and Communications who actually started today. So I imagine that he'll be joining you on the next call, and you can meet him. His name is Joey Sanchez. I believe we've been with COVES for over 4 years, and we use the data in a number of ways. It comes in, very handy in terms of and useful for our communication strategies and our operations, especially during COVID, has been really helpful for making decisions about operations as well. I'm excited for the new person to join the group. And I think that he'll really learn a lot about the visitor experiences. It's his first entree into the museum world. So this will be a great group to learn from.
Thank you, Cecilia. I think next, Rachel Wolf, can I call on you?
Sure. Hello. I just put a chip in my mouth, so I'm sorry. But hi, I am Rachel Wolf, she, her, hers, from the Minneapolis Institute of Art. I often have another colleague on this call who is not here today, Alice Anderson, and together we work on audience research and evaluation as well as data strategy. And we have been collecting COVES data for almost 2 years now. And we were also one of the leads along with Crystal Bridges on the most recent COVES IMLS grant to study and integrate art museums into the community. So very happy to be here. I also sit on the COVES Leadership Advisory Committee Council. I can't remember what the C stands for, whatever that is. So doing a lot of COVES stuff right now. And institutionally, COVES really came at the perfect time for us in terms of being able to collect on the ground pandemic data. Certainly we were hearing directly from our visitors and able to share with leadership team around policies that we had in place, action and things like that. But more generally, we're using our reporting COVES data sort of in a rotating basis, but often on a weekly basis, and looking at it really closely in line with our strategic plan and other key dashboarding for our board and subject matter experts across the institution. So yay, happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Rachel. How about Jim from Utah?
Yeah, thanks. My name is Jim Breitinger. I'm with the Natural History Museum of Utah, where I do marketing and communications. And I don't know how long we've been doing COVES, like 3 or 4 years, something like that. The data is invaluable. Been even pre-COVID, like I would say, it's just a great pulse to have on our visitors. And we had done very similar studies prior to joining COVES, but I love having it in the cloud on the dashboard. And I also like being part of this group where we have peers from around the country. And I'm especially happy that there's art museums and others joining the cohort or whatever we call it. So welcome to all the new people. And I'll go ahead and stop there.
Thank you, Jim. I see Beth Katz next. Can I call on you?
You sure can. So I'm Beth Katz. I am the Director of Evaluation and Museum Impact at the Natural History Museums of Los Angeles County. And we first joined on in July 2019, got about 8 months of in-person data before, stuff happened. And we've been emailed and we've been back in person since October of just this past year. One interesting thing, we're actually 3 institutions. So we are the Natural History Museum, we are the La Brea Tar Pits, and we have the William S. Hart Museum as well. And when we started back up, we added La Brea Tar Pits. We started doing the survey there as well. And we're really interested kind of now in pre-post COVID data and who's coming and who's not coming, and just kind of following up with last month's conversation. My goal is to really try to see how COVES can be used to set some key performance indicators for the institution. And I apologize if I'm off camera a lot. I have a little helper at home today, so you might come help.
Completely understand. I'm sure it'd be very helpful. I have Betsy Matt Turner from the Putnam next on my little list.
Hi, I'm Betsy Matt Turner. I'm the Vice President of Strategic Advancement at the Putnam. We are located in Davenport, Iowa, and we are a museum of science, history, and world cultures. We have been with COVES for a year. And started, I think, February of 2020. So that did not give us much time before everything went haywire. But we have been doing in-person surveying during that time, sometimes with staff shortages, not getting what we would like in terms of numbers of surveys, but we're just hiring a new position now that will help us with that. And we're interested in using it for a variety of purposes. We are, one of the things that's been really helpful to us so far is just the demographic information we get about who we're serving. We've often been asked that in the past and really did not know how to answer. And that's how, in fact, we got connected up with COVES when I reached out to somebody at ASTC about that type of thing. We're also using it in conjunction with our strategic plan. We have questions that we have added to our survey about the extent to which we're welcoming, to which we're relevant, that type of thing. And I think we're starting to use it in terms of some marketing strategy as well. I just reached out to Alex recently. We have a different kind of audience community survey being done, and the consultant was interested in knowing what we knew about museums in other communities and how they rated on certain things. So a lot of things that we hope to use it for.
Thank you so much, Betsy. Next, I have Bridget Flaherty from the Peoria Riverfront Museum.
Hi, I'm Bridget. I came to work at the museum in July, and I think that was when our people started coordinating with COVES. So then they kind of added that to what I do in the fall. Then with administration and some of them having COVID, and then maternity leave for other people, and just changing out our galleries, we haven't been able to do much. But our museums in Peoria, Illinois, it's art, history, science, and achievement. So we have a wide variety of different exhibits. And right now, I'd say 2/3 of our galleries are actually like being swapped out right now. So we actually haven't gotten any data yet, but we're looking forward to finding out how we can better engage people while they're visiting the museum, as well as online, especially demographics wise. So I'm really interested to see how that goes once we get everything underway with the iPads and the galleries are back open, because it's pretty quiet right now, but fingers crossed for the next couple weeks, we're ready to go.
Thank you so much. There. I love hearing people's descriptions of their museums. That's so cool. How about Caitlin from Cincinnati?
I'm Caitlin Tracy Miller. I'm the Assistant Director of Visitor Research and Evaluation at the Cincinnati Art Museum in Ohio. And I've got a couple of my colleagues here with me today. Kate Law, who manages our on-site data collection for COVES, and Caitlin Lawson, who's our visitor research intern right now, who will also be helping us collect data for COVES. And we were part of the Art Museum prototyping group this past year, and we attended the convening, and I've really enjoyed serving on our instrument team, kind of thinking about what's the same or different about evaluating experience in the art museum setting. So we've had some great conversations about that. And we're really excited to kind of get more months of COVES data, kind of hopeful we'll be able to collect more in-person data than we have been. It's been a little slow with the Omicron variant and not having volunteers in the building for a little bit here. And we're really excited, like others have said, we do use it for evaluating experience, tying into our strategic plan and other wider initiatives. And we're also really excited about the possibilities for segmenting data to kind of see if visitors who are visiting with children, for example, are having a positive experience or that sort of thing as we get meatier amounts of data. Yeah, so I think that's the main thing. And we're really hopeful for this year and kind of diving in with a full year of COVES. So good to be here.
Thanks, Caitlin. Yeah, you've got a couple other folks from Cincinnati on the call. Great to see. How about Claire Erdahl, if you're there? From the Westmoreland, I believe. If not, that's totally okay. We can come back to you. Clayton from the Art Museum of, can't see the whole name. You can introduce yourself. I think it's you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Clay Reuter. I'm with the Art Museum of South Texas. We're located in Corpus Christi, Texas. We got brought in through Art Bridges to COVES in July of 2021. We've collected enough data that we can look at it on our dashboard, and we're excited to kind of keep collecting more and have even more unique ways to use it. So far, we've primarily kind of been using it, like everybody else has mentioned, to look at some of those key performance indicators and then just kind of report back to our front staff how things are going. In terms of interesting facts about our museum, we're located right on a ship channel. And so there's actually markers on the exterior of our museum so the ships that are coming in don't crash into us.
That's extremely cool and important. Thank you so much, Clay. How about Katie from Connecticut?
Hi, sorry, I was just eating lunch. So my name's Katie. I work at the Connecticut Science Center in Hartford, Connecticut. We've been open, this year will be our 13th year open, so we're sort of like the newbies in town. The Wadsworth is also in Hartford, and they've been open for like hundreds of years. But we've been participating in COVES since July of 2019. We have done an in-person exit survey since about 2013, I think, but we really sort of wanted to up our game this way. So we found COVES extremely helpful. It's really awesome to be able to compare us to other institutions. I would say also we currently use them in a form of a KPI. We have something that we present to our board of trustees called our performance metrics. And, some of it is financial based, our earned revenue and raised revenue. But then there's also, we have like our service quality index. So we roll in some COVES scores to that. So we use like the staff quality, the exhibit quality and so on. And so we review those quarterly and annually to make some goals for our staff. So that's been really awesome. And I think this year we're looking at even more ways to incorporate COVES into some of our other metrics. So yeah, that's that.
Fantastic. That's nice to meet you, Katie. I don't know if I've met you yet from your institution, so this is great to meet you.
I don't think so. So Tyler Green is normally here. He is one of our visitor services leads. And Patty Falls, who's my boss, she's our vice president of visitor experience. Neither of them could be here today, but they do also join in this meeting on and off. I'm also the data analyst here. I don't think I said that, but that's my job title.
Thank you.
So.
I believe next would be Cindy from the Matatuck.
So my name is Cindy Julissa. I'm at the Matatuck Museum in Waterbury, Connecticut, so not too far from Katie. We have been a part of COVES since, I want to say June of 2021. Sorry, and have really enjoyed using it to get to know our audiences a little better. I think this upcoming year, our goal is to be really consistent about getting responses because we've had a lot of changes in staffing. So that has been a little bit of a just trouble for us sometimes. You will also sometimes see my colleague Kiana on here, who is our visitor services manager. And yeah, we're just looking forward to hearing what everybody has learned so far and being a part of this group.
Thank you. It's fortuitous. It's the Connecticut connection right there. How about Dina from the Rollins Museum? Dina there?
Oh, there you could count on me to be the one that has my volume down. My volume doesn't work. Hi. I'm doing 100 things at once. I'm Dina. I'm with the Rollins Museum of Art in Winter Park, Florida, and we've been using COVES since September of last year, late September. And I think something unique about the museum is a lot of people haven't heard of us. We're associated with Rollins College in Winter Park. We're a teaching museum. We have a very large contemporary art collection. And also in this area, we're the only museum that has European master paintings in its permanent collection. One thing that's an offshoot of the museum, it's called the Alfond Inn, and it's a hotel near campus where all the proceeds fund scholarships, and it's the only hotel in the nation that has a collection that's part of a museum's collection. So works that are on view that are contemporary there are also part of the museum's collection. And for the art lovers out there, we have works from artists such as Hank Willis Thomas, Yinka Shonibari. We just had a piece commissioned by Yinka Shonibari that's going to make its debut this month. Carmen Herrera, I could go on and on and on and on. So if you love art, you would love the museum. And I think what we are hoping from COVES is just to get a better understanding of our visitors. We have 2 visitor services associates, Alex and Andrew, who really do the bulk of the work in getting information and asking people to take the survey. So I'm happy to be here, and thank you for your patience with my technical difficulties, which seem to be never ending. Thanks.
No worries, Dina. Thank you. I believe next I have Eric Blanchard.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Alex. I'm Eric Blanchard, the Director of Communications and Marketing at Space Center Houston. And I'm here representing our team, but Lauren Hawley, our evaluation specialist, is the one who handles everything with COVES. And she's done a great job of utilizing the data we've gotten so far. We launched with COVES last March, and we've created a benchmarking tool where we benchmark our ratings against COVES and then report that out to our leadership team and to the entire crew here. And hopefully we're going to narrow in on one metric eventually where everyone's really focused on achieving that metric every day. So we're kind of pushing in that direction. Really grateful for the data and grateful to be on this call. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Eric. How about Gretchen from SMM?
Good afternoon or morning, depending on where you are. My name is Gretchen Haupt, she, her. I'm with the Science Museum of Minnesota in St. Paul. And I actually think Sarah has a better understanding of how long the Science Museum has been participating in COVES. I've sort of drifted onto the project. So I think it's from the beginning we've been involved. And we use COVES data. It's in almost everything. It's in our strategic planning. It's in our understanding our marketing reach. It's in some of our integrated campaigns around offerings in the museum. So we use it to understand what brings people to the museum and how well are the offerings aligning with that. We use it just to have a good pulse on our audience. We use it to help describe our audience in grant proposals or for other sort of KPI things. Oh, where else do we use it? We use it for operational reasons on a weekly basis. We use it for our annual impact reporting, sort of our internal reports about what we've achieved for the year. The other members that you might see on this call are Marjorie Paquette, who is on the I can't think of the name, the advising committee or the leadership committee, and Amy Grack Nelson is on questions and measures team. And then we have a whole crew of museum evaluator staff who support in gathering data from our visitors on the floor. And my role is I'm sort of the person who operationalizes all of that. So not in as much of the big picture strategic planning, but I make sure all the wheels turn at the museum.
Thank you so much, Gretchen. Of course, that's very important. Yes, SMM has been with COVES since forever. So you're correct there. How about Julissa from Portland?
Hi everyone. My name is Julissa, and I work at the Portland Art Museum. I work as head of public programs and engagement in the Learning and Community Partnerships Department. And my colleague Stephanie Parrish, who's the director of Learning and Community Partnerships Department, is also here on this call. We actually just joined COVES, so we haven't even had an opportunity to collect any data yet, but we're getting set up and we're really focusing and centering the data collection around an exhibition that's opening, Frida Kahlo, Diego Rivera, and Mexican Modernism, which is set to open a bit later this month. And one of the reasons why we're really excited to join COVES is that we different departments have different ways of just collecting visitor feedback, so usually anecdotal, and we all sort of have our own ways of working with that information. So it'll be really nice to have a process of collecting data and being able to share that information amongst departments and being able to make more informed decisions around our programming and around exhibition making and visitor services with a shared set of data. So we're really looking forward to being a part of this process.
Thank you, Julissa. You may be one of our newest members, so welcome, welcome. I believe next would be Jennifer Olson. If you hadn't noticed, this is basically in alphabetical order by your first name, so just know that. Jennifer Olson from the Bradbury, introduce your museum.
Okay, so I'm new to this. I'm the operations manager here at the Bradbury Science Museum or Museum for Los Alamos National Laboratory. My director is on here, Linda Deck. She has been, I think we've been with COVES for, she would know how long, but for a good long time. I think that's about it. Like I said, I'm new to the project, so.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, you've been with COVES for quite a while, since I believe 2016 or so. Yeah, so it's been great.
2016 is right, Alex. 2016, good long time.
For so long. Julie from Crystal Bridges is next.
Hi. Hi all, I'm Julie Goss from Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art in Bentonville, Arkansas. I am so excited to be here with all of you and many of our new art museum friends. Crystal Bridges was the first art museum who joined COVES. I'm going to say that. We started collecting data in January 2020. We also facilitate the COVES experience for our Art Bridges partners. So thank you so many to so many of you who are joining through that venue. Something unique about my museum, we sit on 120 acres and have over 5 miles of trails. So when we're thinking about visiting Crystal Bridges, we're also thinking about our outdoor visitors. And then we also have a satellite site about a mile away focusing on contemporary art. Lots of sampling considerations that I have not figured out the answer to. So I have a wonderful team who many of you have probably also met, Kate Metter and Rachel Lindsay, who also support our COVES experiences at our site and with our Art Bridges partners. And we use COVES for a lot of things internally for our strategic plan measurement. I'm working on a report right now about 2021 and just tracking that change over time. I'm really excited to think more about this field-wide comparison and how to understand sort of our context in the broader like art museum field. So that is something that I'm really excited about. Anything I'm missing, Alex? I think that's it.
No, anything you want to share? You've done it all. Yeah, I think you were the first art museum.
I'm going to say it. I really badgered you all into accepting art museums, and so I will take that pro and con. Like I'm the first one, and I helped uncover a lot of little peculiarities about art museums and sort of teaching the COVES system to accept it. Like, yeah, art museum exhibitions change more frequently, and yeah, we probably have more different kinds of motivation. So it's been really exciting to unpack those through the IMLS grant. And I think where we are now is a better place for art museums. So I'll be quiet. Yay.
Super strong showing from our art museums here on the call today. It's like really, really exciting. Awesome. So I think Karen Torgo from Great Lakes, if you're there, you're next.
Hello, everyone. I am Karen Torgo, Senior Manager of STEM Programs and Evaluation here at Great Lakes Science Center in Cleveland, Ohio. We have been with COVES for about 5 years. And although I recently have stepped into the position of leading COVES here just within the past year or so, just due to staff loss and changes here as well. We weren't really collecting any or much data during the pandemic. So it's really nice to start seeing it back up again. And it's been a struggle to get staff, to have staff, because we also had a lot of volunteers we no longer have. But I am proud to say that we are slowly getting it back on track, that we're at least doing a couple days a week now and going to grow that out even more as we get more staff. Our reason for using COVES and why we love using it is first off to gauge who's coming to the museum. And then also to gauge their experience, of course. And so to look, it really does help drive our exhibits as well, especially when we're looking at either in-house or out-of-house temporary exhibits, traveling exhibits, things that we change up. It helps us really drive that data. That data helps drive our decisions as well. And then something unique about our museum is we are actually home to one of the 14 NASA visitor centers, which we love and enjoy having them in here. And it really helps us drive different audiences as well. So thank you.
Thank you. So next, I believe Kelsey from NYSCI.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Kelsey. I'm the data analyst at the New York Hall of Science in Queens in New York City. I am relatively new to the museum. I was hired in May, and due to a series of unfortunate events, the museum hasn't really been able to collect data recently because we have been closed. So I am not very familiar with COVES. So I'm going to let my coworker Shamila explain to you a little bit more about how we use COVES, because she has been with the museum longer and knows more about how it works.
Shamila, would you like to jump in?
Sure. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Shamila. We're both from the New York Hall of Science, which is located in Queens, New York. We've been a part of COVES somewhere around the beginning, 2014, 2015-ish. We're a medium-sized museum, and essentially someone used the perfect word, operationalize. I like that. I operationalize, and Kelsey does the analyzing of our data. And we use our data for a couple of things, really mostly to make data-driven decisions, marketing, comparing to our peers, sharing feedback across the institution, that kind of thing. And a unique thing about our museum is that it was built on the original 1964 World's Fair grounds. And we are actually in quite a lot of movies that you may not have even noticed, including maybe like 6 movies from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So look around for Blue Light, we're in there, and that's us.
That's incredible. I didn't know that. Thank you so much, both of you. Lauren P. from CAM St. Louis, would you like to go next?
Sure. I'm Lauren Peltier. I'm our institutional giving manager at the Contemporary Art Museum in St. Louis, Missouri. I just joined the team here about 1.5 years ago during the pandemic, moved to St. Louis, and we joined COVES, very recently. We received an IMLS ARP grant, and I'll just put a link in the chat here to talk a little bit more about the project. So it's really started as, during this time, the museum did a really intensive DEAI audit of the organization, both board and staff led, through the Mass Action Museum as Social Sites for Action audit, which some of you may be aware of. One of the big questions that we rated ourselves low on was, how do we know if we're listening to our constituents? And some of these programs started to develop over the recent year. One was called Collective Impact, which invites local communities in to develop programming by and for communities in the museum. So with that, we wanted to upgrade some of our data collection, our surveying. We've done a few tweaks to our visitor survey now, but through this grant, it's allowed us to join COVES to do trauma awareness training, anti-racism training, and integrate all of that in and really ensure we are listening, our programs are resonating, that sort of thing. So something unique, I guess we are a non-collecting contemporary art museum located in St. Louis, one of the only types in the region. We're located right next door to the Pulitzer Arts Foundation. So we have this really unique contemporary art campus right in the heart of downtown St. Louis. So new to COVES, glad to meet everyone.
We just came from a training with Lauren's whole staff like 30 minutes ago. So it was a lot of
Yes.
fun.
Already getting emails back. People are very excited for this. So data collection is something sort of, that it's been fits and starts at the museum, but we're really excited to have an intentional practice and be able to compare with other art museums. So I know we're in a consortium of similar small non-collecting contemporary art museums. Maybe we'll put the word out and try to get a few more to participate. So
Love it.
Thanks.
So I think next will be Lauren R. from the Seattle Art Museum.
Hello, I'm the Director of Visitor Experience at Seattle Art Museum. We started the COVES pilot this past July, and we're now working on officially joining COVES. Seattle Art Museum has 3 locations. We have our downtown location, but also the Seattle Asian Art Museum and the Olympic Sculpture Park. For now, we're sort of mainly focusing on our downtown location for COVES and then figuring out how to incorporate our other locations. I think particularly our sculpture park will be a little bit challenging, an outdoor space. But yeah, so we're hoping that COVES will help us better understand who our visitors are, help us to start using data more often in our decision making, and then, help us figure out if we're meeting our strategic goals. So we're kind of in the early stages, but very excited.
Thanks, Lauren. Lou Spriggs from the Huntington, would you like to introduce your museum?
Hi. Sorry, I'm trying to turn my camera on. There we go. Hi, everybody. My name's Lou Spriggs. I'm from the Huntington. Can you all hear me? Because sometimes my volume is weird. Okay. We are about 12 miles outside of downtown Los Angeles. We are, I think probably the most unique thing about us is we're like a 3-for-1. We are a botanical garden. We've got 120 acres. We also have an art museum, and we have a research library. So our botanical garden, we have sort of themed gardens. We have one of the biggest Chinese gardens outside of China. In our art museums right now, we have a Kehinde Wiley show. This summer, we're going to be having a Great British Drawings exhibition. That's one of our key strengths. And our research library has things as varied as a lock of Abraham Lincoln's hair. We also have a Gutenberg Bible and one of Shakespeare's quartos. And we're super new to COVES too. I know Alex and our team just did an introductory meeting too, but I'm actually going to pass this over to Victoria. She's our evaluation manager, and she's really been spearheading the COVES situation and knows much more than I do. So Victoria.
Everyone. So I think in terms of how we want to use COVES, it's very similar to what a lot of other folks have mentioned. We're really interested in being able to systematically collect data on who's coming, why they're coming, what exhibitions are drawing them, because as Lou said, we have so many different areas. We're 3-for-1. So we want to know what people are really interested in. We're also interested in collecting this data for understanding whether we're meeting our DEI strategic plan goals. We're going through a strategic planning process right now, so that will eventually be something that we'll be looking at as well. And then just, practical operations, marketing goals. I think there's a lot of different applications for this tool. So we're very excited just to be getting started. We haven't started collecting data yet. We're still just getting everything in order. But we're excited to be part of this cohort.
Thanks, both of you. Yeah, we were doing a training with you both a week or 2 ago or something like that. So also very new, and we're very happy to have such a unique museum participating now. Museum, library, botanical garden, everything. It's really cool. Let me see. Nidra Haynes from LSU Museum of Art. Would you like to go next?
Hey, I'm Nedra, and I'm with the LSU Museum of Art in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And we have just started with COVES. We have an exhibition opening, state-of-the-art record from Crystal Bridges in March. and we were getting geared up to start collecting data during that exhibition and have planned to collect data for the next 3 years. My team is here. My colleagues, Sarah Amaker is the communications coordinator, and Leanne Russo is the visitor services manager. And Sarah is handling the operations side of it and the technical side with the iPads, and also transferring the data. And Leanne is our visitor services manager. And we have about 24 students on average each semester, and we plan on using our students to perform the actual surveys themselves. And we've had several trainings with y'all. Thank you. And we've had our students train, and we'll continue to train more students as they come in each semester. Let's see, we are looking to utilize COVES, like many of y'all have said, for our KPI and our ops and for our annual reporting. We write a lot of grants. We're a state institution and we are a university museum, and we work closely with the College of Art and Design and also the School of Art at LSU, as well as other interdisciplinary programs throughout the university. And we're hoping to understand our visitors and understand how it relates to our community. And we hope that it informs our upcoming exhibitions and how we interact with our community. And everything that I've seen, it's like, it seems like it's going to be very beneficial. And we, of course, for our annual reporting and our reporting to our upper administration, we feel like it's going to help us really sort out. We've been wanting to collect data for quite some time, but we just didn't know how to proceed. And this is like a program that's in place. And when y'all told us about it, we were like, yes, absolutely, we want to be involved with that. So we appreciate you having us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nedra. Let me see, just kind of going through here. Sarah, you introduced Sarah. Maybe Anya Chavez from the Tweed Museum, maybe one of our last museums.
Yes, hi, thank you so much. Hi, everybody, very nice to meet all of you. And similar to my colleagues, Dina and Nedra, I hope I didn't leave anybody else. We are also associated with the university. So in this case, we're located in Minnesota. So a couple hours from me, a couple hours from the Science Museum there in Minneapolis, up north, the beautiful Northland in Duluth. And the Tweed Art Museum is part of the University of Minnesota Duluth. So similar to other academic museums, we are also a community museum. So we have existed since the 50s. We have a collection of about 10,000 objects, diverse, global. We recently started with COVES. Thank you again for your support via Art Bridges. And similar to my academic colleagues, at least what Nedra just mentioned, yes, we did desperately need it, at least for us, measures to create benchmarks and to actually find out who are our visitors and to have the data in place. As all of you said, obviously it's important for campaigns, important for reports, important for grants, but most importantly, I would say it's really driving the force to know whom are you doing the programs with and for. And we had an amazing program that we just launched off. So we started taking the data when we could reopen to the general public, which was November 2nd, with Hank Willis Thomas's exhibition, and that was organized by the Delaware Art Museum. And I know that you, Dina, said that you own your museum, and Roland owns one of the Hank Willis Thomas, so that's great. So that was the Black Survival Guide. So that was an amazing project, and we empowered the Northland's Black communities, and we started COVES. And similar to what you described, Nedra, we are also using or asking our students to do that. We have the small stuff and can make that happen with COVES. We haven't had an opportunity yet to look into all of the data just because it just recently took place, and we also would want to have more students in place to take the surveys. And I'm here. I would have liked to have some students attend right now, but there's also time to take classes. That'd be in the future. to learn from all of you and to see how the data can be used and expanded. But it's fantastic to have that in place. So thank you, Art Bridges. Good to meet Crystal Art Bridges folks, and I don't want to take more time. So thank you for having us here and for your support.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to return to Claire Erdl, if you are there to introduce your museum.
Yes, I am sorry. I was thinking
No
that
worries.
I joined late and maybe I was passed up, so I wasn't prepared to join, but I will gladly. We are the Westmoreland Museum of American Art in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, and we are one of the Art Bridges partners participating in COVES. So I believe since about 2020, and we, I feel like still, you know, with the pandemic, are getting a handle on the data and the use of the data, but we do use it for quarterly board reporting. And it has provided us a mechanism for demographic information of our visitors, which we previously had no other way to collect. So thank you.
Thanks, Claire. Yeah, sorry, I kind of passed you earlier and then came back to you. So I'm really glad you were here. So, wow, I think we got through everybody. I think, did I miss any institutions?
I was keeping separate track. I think someone from the Palmer Museum was on, but it looks like they have jumped off. So I think that is everyone that's
Cool.
here today.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for introducing yourselves. I hope as other folks spoke, you heard maybe some things you didn't know, or maybe, you know, heard someone say they use their data for X, Y, or Z that you're also interested in. We definitely encourage folks to connect like offline outside of COVES, and we can always facilitate any connections that are needed, you know, for you. I even heard some interesting museum factoids that kind of united all of you, or united smaller groups of you with different things that I knew about. So yes, and thank you, Bridget. It was great to have you here. And I think what we wanted to do just with the last couple of minutes was to just revisit, you know, why we do these monthly webinars, tell you about what our intention was, and see if there's anything else you want to suggest or any thing you're not getting out of it that you would like to be. So back when we started trying to do these webinars consistently, the goal was to kind of alternate every other month between something that was more us sharing with you, like data, or you know, kind of delivered at you like a traditional webinar, and alternating with more conversational, like breakout rooms, getting to know each other, that kind of thing. And so that was sort of what we, you know, last month we had the KPIs and we had people sort of presenting a little bit more, kind of lined up speakers. And this month it's very conversational. Next month will be a little bit more, you know, we've prepared a list of institution specific questions and we'll be sharing, asking you if it's okay, and then kind of sharing out different examples. So just sort of wondering, is that still something that folks are resonating with? Is there anything you wish you would be getting out of this space that you're not? And feel free to either raise your hand or just type in the chat or speak up. You know, now we've all spoken, so we've kind of broken the ice there.
I was starting to type, but I think it would be just faster if I just talk. Sorry if I'm skipping anybody who raised their hand. I don't know. I haven't been on a lot of these sessions, but I'm not sure if this is something that's been done in the past, but just I think looking at the data across the full scope of the COVES survey and like comparing maybe like types of museums, like art museums, is that something that has been done on a session or?
Not specifically that. That's sort of something that we're always, we're do analyze the aggregate data kind of on a cycle. But probably in the next couple months or so, we'll be talking about some aggregate analysis that are being planned for the year. And one of those like topics is absolutely looking at art museums more specifically, and comparing art museums to like science museums or the other segments of the COVES audience. So yes.
Thank you.
Glad to know you're interested. Yeah, so Beth just shared, I would love to see the custom questions other institutions use, especially related to whether or not visitors feel welcome, represented, etc. Yeah, so timely. That is what we'll be talking about next month. We'll be kind of reaching out to all of you who have custom questions, just to say, hey, is it okay if we kind of associate this with you, with your museum? And we would invite anyone to sort of talk about their questions as well. But I think that'll be a really informative webinar next month.
I guess kind of along the same lines, that question, like some people identify themselves as university museums, but are there, like, I don't know if you just actually answered this question, are there breakouts that we can like talk directly to, like the people like that are like us, like, university museums? I know it, not specifically just art museums, but if we wanted to talk to other people that were specifically university museums.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we've got a bunch of new university museums pretty recently, so that's really exciting.
Well,
Related,
sorry. Go ahead, Julie.
I'm just like thinking of random ideas related to both of those, like custom questions and potentially the university ideas. There might be something interesting to look at throughout the year later about local and non-local visitation. I know it's a conversation we have a lot, or like there are some sites who get more tourists and some sites who don't. And with university art museums, or university museums, the conversation is always like, are you coming to us? Are you coming to the university already? And we just like happen to be part of your visit. So there's just these different, as it relates to motivation, and potentially just different audiences. I don't know. It would be nice to hear your lens as like big coves, like what do you see across that conversation that might help some of our internal conversations about about local, non-local considerations. Because of course we need to be all things to all people, and it can be a challenge. And so I think any guidance you'll have there would be nice.
I love that. Yeah, it's a great idea. Have like a minute or two left in the hour. If anyone else has something to throw out there. Loving the ideas. Oh, and Caitlin just shared, I'll just read it out loud. Not sure how this might work, but hearing people speak, it's clear that a lot of the art museums or contemporary art museums have had similar exhibitions. Could be neat to compare exhibition response as well as general visit response. That's a really great point, Caitlin. We did that temporary exhibit comparisons for science centers a couple years ago, because we finally got some traveling exhibits that had gone to 2 or 3 COVE sites, and we actually compared like different ratings on those temporary exhibits. And why not do something again like that for art museums? It was
that would be awesome. Cool. Yeah.
And that's also, I'll just throw out, a lot of people are mentioning the Art Bridges partnership, which some of you obviously are participating through Art Bridges, but not everyone might be familiar with that. That's a lot of the idea behind Art Bridges. Is, I might get this a little bit wrong, but I think they facilitate loaning different objects or exhibits or pieces to many different museums. So they're interested in seeing, across all of the museums that they work with, if those exhibits, objects, etc., you know, what the impact they're having on visitors is. So.
I do have one question if there's still time for that.
One last one, yeah.
Okay, the question is, you're probably over time going to change maybe the survey or add things to the survey. So how do you go about that in terms of this very varied grouping? I mean, you mentioned already, you know, city and rural is one thing that probably is in common, but how will you do that? Will you divide us up in various groupings because we might have different questions for the university museums or the ones who are more in maybe areas that are not metropolitan? How do you go about that? Who's determining that and how? And what would be a time frame and when would you get back to us on that?
That'd be a great conversation to bring here, particularly as I was thinking about the number of people in this room and the fact that I think about we're just over half of our institutions represented today. Just knowing that we are growing, right? How do we return to and say, like, this is what it looked like before, what now needs to change, both as we grow in the number of institutions participating and then in the variety of the experiences or structures within which you're working. So bringing that back and having a conversation around that and saying, how do we need to change that to make sure that we're really thinking deeply about all of our different experiences and contexts, for sure.
Well, we are now at the hour. Thank you everyone who shared suggestions at the end, and thank you everyone for being called on. I know it's not always fun to have me, you know, call your name out and make you talk, but it was great. It was great to meet everybody and learn about everybody. And as I said, next month, institution, that's a hard word to say, specific questions. We'll be reaching out to you about those, and you know, come join and learn about what other people are asking. So thank you so much, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.